next step to our squaring process is going to be the jointer. The purpose of the jointer is going to be to smooth one face of the board so that it can go through the planer as our next step. Again, operate only with instructor's permission and after you received instruction and all safety operations of the machine. Take care of jewelry, okay, off, loose clothing, tucked in, taken care of, and take care of long hair, anything loose hanging off your body so that it's not exposed or get too close to the blades on the machine. Okay, all guards are in place and operating properly. Okay, we have a guard that covers the blade of the machine. Okay, we want to make sure that that is operating properly. I'll keep an eye on that and make sure if anything is wrong with it, or if you notice anything at any point on any machine is not operating correctly, please let me know right away so that I can take care of it. Okay, we have our safety glasses on again at all times. Okay, and everything's ready to go. On this machine, we have a start and stop button right here. The stop button, okay, is a large mushroom-shaped button that you need to twist to the right and it will pop out. And then you push the start button to start the machine. When you're done, you simply push the stop button the whole way in and it is locked. That way someone can't bump into the start button and start it by accident because the machine is actually locked. Okay, our fence at the back here, okay, is adjusted and set square to the blade, so we don't really have to make too many adjustments on this machine before we use it. Okay, we can slide that back fence forward and cover part of the blade, so some may consider this a second guard. So we have like the front and the rear guard of the machine. Again, with our board, you want to make sure that the cup is down. Okay, so we bring our board back, and you want to make sure the cup is down on the table so it sits flat. When using the jointer, we are always going to use a push block. Okay, there are different styles of push blocks or push sticks. Okay, one like this can be used when you're doing something like a post and it's not quite as wide, but most of the time with the jointer, you're going to use this push block. Okay, this piece right here sits at the back of the board, and this handle locks on right here. Okay, your right hand will be on the push stick, and your left hand will be on the board like this. Okay, when you are ready, we're going to turn the machine on. You want to make sure your hands are never directly over the blade. So as you pass over the jointer, you can slightly lift up your left hand and go over so that it's not pushing directly into the blade, or your hand can be there, but just don't put any pressure down. Okay, you really want to hold down a little bit on that, but we're not pushing it hard into the blade. Your right hand is pushing forward and a little bit of pressure down. Okay, but if you push down too hard, it's going to be hard to slide. Okay, you never want to stand directly behind the jointer and never allow anyone else to stand directly behind the jointer. If I am standing right here to operate the machine, the board is moving forward, so I consider back here behind the machine. It's kind of over to the right from where you're operating. If a board would kick out of this machine, it could fly back and hit the wall. Okay? This machine and some of the other machines can kick back a board with the force hard enough to send a 2x4 through a cinder block. You don't want to be between the two. Okay? Make sure our cuts, and again this is set, are no deeper than 1/16 of an inch. Okay, it's very rare you would need to take more than that off, so I have that set just a little bit less than 1/16 of an inch. Okay, so that it doesn't have too much pressure or resistance against you pushing it across the machine. The minimum length of any board that we process in this lab is 14 inches. Okay, that's important for the safety test. On the radial arm saw, again, you would never cut something shorter than 14 inches. If you have short pieces in a project, such as 4 boards that need to be 10 inches long, you can actually double those and cut 2 boards 21 or 22 inches long, and then when you're done, cut those down as your last step to the final length. But we never want to try to process really short boards like that. It's too dangerous in a lot of machines. Okay, we went over, we don't really need to make adjustments on the tables. Okay, your in-feed table is right here, and this is your out-feed. It goes in on this table, comes out over here. As it goes across the blade, the back table is set a little bit lower than the out-feed table. Okay, if our blade is set to take 1/16 of an inch off, the back table is 1/16 lower. So as it comes out, the blade is cutting off 1/16 of an inch, and it comes out perfectly level on that second table. They are set and balanced. They are called coplanar to each other, and it's very important that we keep them that way so that we don't have the board rocking as it goes through and you get little nicks on the end of the board. Okay. As you are processing, you're going to stay in this same position and carefully walk forward, processing that board through until the guard goes closed. You want to make sure it's pushed the whole way through so the blade is not exposed. Okay. Never feed stock against the grain. Obviously, a longer board like this, we would never send a board sideways, because if you go against the grain, it's almost going to guarantee a kickback and it's going to rip the board out of your hands, and the danger of the blade is always there. Right? And the guards are always in place. So we're going to go ahead and process a board. It may take one pass, it may take 3 or 4 to get a nice smooth finish on the bottom of that board. Okay, so we're going to start it up. Again, we'll leave the dust collector off just to run one time so that you can see and hear the machine. So we turn the stop knob to the right, we start it up. Start. As it goes through, it's going to touch the edges, because remember, that end is cupped and it arches up a little bit, so it hits the 2 sides. It did not completely hit the sides yet, so we're going to run it again. It's important as you're walking to stay back at the back of the board, because if you come forward and try to pull, the push stick can slip off of the board. Okay. Still need a little bit more here. And this end was cupped a little bit more, so this corner, you can see, didn't quite cover it yet. Over here, it's fine. Okay? So, one more pass should do it. And push in the stop button. Okay. Now you can see there's still a little bit of a rough surface on this board. The rest of the board is flat. But the most important thing is, when you have a cup to a board, the 2 edges need to be smooth the whole way down. If those 2 edges are smooth, it will ride through the planer like it's riding on rails, because those will be flat, and that starts to plane down the top surface and make that flat. Once that's completely flat on the top, you can flip it over and finish that little bit of a rough surface on the bottom. Okay. So this board is ready to go to the planer, and then we'll actually come back after the planer to joint an edge.